Thanks, Ravi, for having me here. Um, I think the impact of COVID on transportation is not hidden from anyone. It's hugely visible. All of us being under lockdown, especially in India, for such a long period, and the urban transport, especially the public transport being put on hold, has reflected on, you know, also the importance of public transport that really holds in all of our lives. Even though a lot of us might be using private transport, but for other services, for essential services, for health workers to move from one location to another, or from their residences to the hospitals, or for delivery people to move around, I think the impact of public transport um, has been immense in that sense. Um, but going with the norms that government of India has also been suggesting, and especially the precautions such as social distancing that is being promoted, which is very well essential to keep the pandemic under control, or at least to tame it. I think the crux here for all of us is that we don't let the situation slip from our hands because of social distancing, because of less frequency, which might be the case in the near future with the limited fleets available for buses, etc. Because of all these reasons, we should not let go of the the importance that public transport has in all of our lives. We cannot just let the society move more towards private transport or personalized vehicles more and more. We all know the situation. In fact, I was out in Delhi 2 days back just for some personal medical purposes, and most of the roads in Delhi were jam packed. I think this is a situation which we really need to take care of, that people don't move more towards the private transport, and whatever needs to be done, be it investments to increase the fleet, um, to increase the frequency of the fleet so that more and more people can still be transported by public transport, is the need of the hour. We cannot let just overlook the whole situation, in my perspective. You know, much deeper insights into the situation, and especially with Vijay mentioning about the EVs, which is regarded as one of the cleaner technologies for the future, which is good. KfW Development Bank works under the aegis of the Indo-German Development Cooperation. It's the financial arm of the Indo-German Development Cooperation, with GIZ being the technical arm. So currently, KfW has not a very large portfolio on mobility, but we are working on a couple of metros, uh, the innovative ferry transport project, the water metro project in Kochi, which is under implementation, um, and one of the projects on bus sector, which is the modernization of the bus sector reforms in the state of Tamil Nadu. It's a state level project for roughly 900 million euros, and currently it's in the first phase of 200 million euros. So that particular project on buses focuses on electrification of the bus fleet as well, but not just procurement of the buses. It also looks into modernization of the overall ecosystem in which the buses or the public transport should operate. So in the first phase, it covers Chennai, Coimbatore, and Madurai. um, it's just kicked off and the consultants are under procurement. But beyond these, I would say that uh, Indo-German cooperation has a larger vision towards climate-friendly urban transport in India. Uh, Last year in November, Chancellor Merkel was here, and there was this memorandum of understanding with the government of India for the Green Urban Mobility uh, program or partnership, which is to the tune of 1 billion euros. That's roughly 8,000 Indian rupees, which will be coming over the next 5 years. And I'm really glad that in the current situation, that partnership is underway with Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, because it really looks into all the components of mobility that would hold importance or essentiality and would be imperative in this current context of the corona pandemic. So this partnership would really focus on buses, non-motorized transport, last mile connectivity, which is currently somewhat lacking, I would say, with reference to everything, be it metros, be it buses as well. It's a nightmare in a lot of cities to walk up to the bus stand also, plus inland water transport. So it's focusing on all these things with the sole objective of, uh, moving step by step towards uh, sustainable urban mobility, which is climate friendly, with the major tasks being, reduction of emissions, which is one of the major, uh, I would say, parameter that is looked into, plus also focus on socio-economic aspects of the urban transport, which is also again really important. I think challenge, there's not a single challenge. There are so many challenges that I think the whole situation should actually inspire us to take risks, to find opportunities, to move on, as Vijay had said in one of his earlier words. So I was also at the session, attending the session in the morning where all the bus companies were there, state road transport undertakings were there, and say Gurgaon or Rajasthan, they were really worried on the fixed costs, on the operating costs of running idle kilometers, etc. And buses, I mean, metros are really important, but buses are also are also the mode of transport which have a higher or a larger outreach into the cities areas. So I think it's time for all the bus companies, for the government, for all the institutions and organizations to take risk. We are already in a mess, right? We are already in difficult situation. So take risk and adopt and try out certain innovative ways from which we could learn, but not in terms of reports, etc., but like really strengthened business models, as Rajni said, because all these organizations in these tough times, again running into losses, we really don't know what kind of what kind of response they'll get from the government or even from the public. So it's important that they innovate, they try out PPP. Uh, it's very good that UK partnership is supporting startups in the transportation sector. So it's really time, as per the words of Prime Minister, also that we go and involve more private partnership as well in mobility sector. But apart from this, this idea of trying into innovation and strengthening our business and operation models, I think it's also time to really focus on alternative modes of transport. Roads are empty. We saw the photographs of Mumbai, we saw the photographs of Delhi, we saw the photographs of Kochi, and I was surprised looking at a lot of aerial photographs. The width of the roads that was available, and it's still so difficult for me to walk in Mumbai. It's so difficult for me to walk in Kochi. So I think it's time that we could also move into this space of taking some sort of road space, because people are now coming back onto the roads. So redistribute the road space, focus more on walking and bicycling. I think there's hardly any effort that will be required in for social distancing or sanitization, etc., if we walk and if we bicycle. So I think it's an opportunity for us to promote these. Apart from that, also look into this informal sector of integrated intermediate public transport like auto rickshaws, e-rickshaws, etc. It's an opportunity for us. But apart from mobility, I would say it's also imperative and required that the planners look into the overall urban planning of the city. I mean, why should I take a metro to travel 21 kilometers or 30 kilometers? We have seen that walking and cycling could be an option. So why not reduce the distances between works locations and residences? The whole work from home option is not picking up. But if we reduce the distance itself between the workspaces and homes, I think over a period of time, maybe not 2, 3, 5 years, but maybe over 10 years, 15 years, we can overcome something. Yeah, so I fully agree that we should not be, be too sentimental or emotional about the challenges that we have. We should not be bogged down, but we should look into what best we could derive out of it. Yeah, thanks.
Swati, excellent inputs, and your point about redistribution of the road space and the pedestrian space, which is normally occupied by uh, different activities which are happening there, including the uh, informal sector. There are shops, there are conchas, there are thelas, and there is no space to walk in any city anyway. So,
In fact, a lot of
uh,
cities in Europe,
hmm,
in fact, a lot of cities in Europe, say London, Milan, etc., they have actually started drafting policies and also going on the ground and taking away space from the roads. I think it's the best time so that people also, when they come out, they get a feel of the new uh, road space that welcomes them. So yeah, you should look into it. I strongly advocate that.